All right, welcome to the Red and Black Wrestling. I am here with James Ryan from Monsignor Farrell. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to be a part of this. It really means a lot.
No
Um, James competed for Monsignor Farrell from 2016 through 2019, I believe, and was a New York State champion in 2019. Um, so we're going to get right into it. We're going to start it off with 2017 Catholic State duels. The dual meet against St. Anthony's. It was a very exciting duel. Farrell was, I believe, in the lead heading into your match. I believe so, right? We were in the lead.
We were a decent amount.
And forgot at some point in your match, I believe it was around the middle of your match, something took place on the edge of the mat by the St. Anthony's bench. And there was an uproar, and there was some screaming, some yelling, and they ended up leaving. Can you just explain and describe like what happened in that moment that just caused so much chaos?
Yeah, so that was a really intense duel. It was highly anticipated all year. They had a good team that year. We had a really good team that year, and both teams were really looking forward to it. And there was a lot of tension between us. I don't know why, but just very, very tense the whole time. And we were kind of almost pulling away with it. We won a couple matches that we weren't supposed to. We pulled majors and maybe had a pin or so when we weren't supposed to. It was looking really good for us. And my match was, we probably started in like the middleweight, so my match was
Yeah,
kind of towards the end of the duel. I think I was wrestling 113.
yeah, 113. Because I
And
think they started at 70 or 82. Because I remember
yeah,
Perez came off a
that's
great
right.
win.
That's right. I think it was like at 170 we started. And yeah, so wrestling a kid, and I was up probably like, I think I was working towards the tech. I think I was up like a good at least 10. And we get to the edge of the mat, and it was like the very end of the second. It might have been going into the third. Someone said something, and I don't know. I was just like in blackout mode and had a gesture to the St. Anthony's bench. The St. Anthony's bench didn't appreciate the gesture, and they were already really mad about the clock situation and that they were losing. And yeah, they left mid-match.
Mid
And
duel.
mid-match, not even mid-duel. It was mid-match.
Mm-hmm. You
I
still
was still
had,
up.
I believe, like another period to even wrestle,
Yeah, it
and
was
they were
like
like,
going
"No,
into
we're
the
done.
third.
We're wrapping it up."
Yeah, it was one of the crazier things. It was pretty funny.
Because yeah, because we started somewhere in the middle. I think it was actually 52 or 60 we started in, because I believe we were ending at 145. With Isaac's match in Crawford, that was, I think, going to be the last match of the duel,
Yeah.
and we were winning. Remember, Ebanks beat Wellington, which was
Mhm.
a big win for the team, and then we already had this huge wave of momentum heading into your match, and um, I remember there were some complaints about the clock,
Mhm.
so they were already threatening to leave at that point. They were threatening to leave the duel, and then after that took place, they were like, "Listen," he told the team, like, "Line it up. We're going." So definitely a very interesting ending to a very for a duel that was very looked forward to.
Yeah. That was
Um,
the first time I've ever seen something like that. Probably won't see it again.
and we're gonna stay on the topic of crowd and audiences, their views and attitudes towards you. That's not the only time that has happened in your matches, and it wasn't the last. Um, it seemed like any time you were competing, there was always some sort of booing and yelling and something going in the other team's corner during your matches. I believe when in 2018 in the Catholic State duels when we were dual meeting Chaminade. We weren't even wrestling St. Anthony's. Their whole team was in that corner and they were taunting you. How do you keep focused on your match with so much outside interference from teams that aren't even a part of the duel?
I mean, it's kind of easy. I mean, it's easy to fall into it, but like, you're just wrestling. Wrestling's wrestling. It's kind of fun. I like getting booed a little bit. At first, I really didn't, but then like kind of learned to embrace it, and it's pretty cool. Especially like anytime like this is gonna be loud, it just brings energy to the match, and it doesn't really affect me. It might even affect me in a positive way, but I don't really think about it. I tell people this all the time too. I don't know if it's just is this a weird thing or not, but like I don't hear when I wrestle.
I've
I
had that happen.
maybe just like one or two coaches, and might not even be that. And so like the crowd's there, but like I don't really hear it, so I don't really think about it until like after. Like I'll go back and watch the video, like wow, they were loud, they were booing me.
There's been plenty of times when I was wrestling where like I felt like everything was just deafening. Like I don't know if it was the
Yeah,
headgear or anything, but everything, all sounds were just deafening. Like I can't even hear my coaches well, let alone everything going on. Um, and I do remember now that you talk about it that you gave into those booings at first, like when
yeah.
they were booing and they were yelling at you, it set you off. And then, like you said, you started to embrace it, and it had no effect on you whatsoever. And one of the leading groups of people, you actually wrestled in the Catholic State Finals that year, and he was egging it on up into your finals. So, how did all that, I would say, pent up anger or aggression or any type of attitude towards that translate into that finals match when you were competing against him?
Um, it really didn't. Like I was kind of just like, I mean, if you're not jacked up to wrestle in your section finals, then like you probably shouldn't be wrestling them. So like I'm already jacked up for the match, so extra real motivation. But like I think he was just trying to get in my head, but really like it didn't bother me.
Mhm.
I just knew I just had to wrestle, and that's what I did. It felt good after, but like before and during, I'm like, this kid realizes it's not doing anything, right? And then I think he realized after the match.
So we're going to talk about some of your accomplishments. Your 2018 Mayor's Cup, you had a very impressive run. Two opponents you beat, many would say that they wouldn't have seen that coming. You had a semifinals win over David Traub. You and him always had a back and forth rivalry. And then a finals victory over Dove, who had won the Mayor's Cup tournament a couple of times. Um, so talk about that whole tournament run.
Yeah, that was a really fun tournament. Um, I was coming off of two kind of not great performances, but in really tough matchups and really tough tournaments. After the Dave Ironman tournament, I had a really tough bracket. There was a lot of really good kids, and I didn't wrestle well. And then Eastern States was the following weekend, and I wrestled well. I just I came up short in both of my matches. So like people didn't really see it coming from me, but I saw progression, so I was confident going into the tournament. I wrestled both of them before. I'm friends with both of them, so I kind of just knew what those matches are going to be like. They're going to be hard matches. Both kids are pretty good. But see what you said before, a lot of people didn't see it coming, but like when you were surprised that I won, I was surprised that people thought that people were surprised, if that makes
Yeah,
any sense.
yeah.
Like I really wasn't like I
You
expected
had
it.
no doubt for yourself, and it surprised you that you had doubters heading into that tournament.
I mean, you always have doubt.
Yeah.
Everyone has a little bit of doubt. But yeah, I won. That was like mindset wise one of my best tournaments, and one of like how I try to how to explain this. what I try to follow mindset wise for a tournament. I was very confident. I trusted my training. I trusted the coaches. I felt really good physically. And yeah, everything just really, I was there that day.
And it showed. It showed that you had the confidence. You felt good heading into that tournament, and like you said before, you had some losses before, performances that you said that to you weren't that great, but you saw progression in your wrestling. You
Yeah,
saw mistakes you were making in those matches, and during that time heading into that tournament, you were correcting it. You were fixing, you were critiquing those mistakes, and heading into that tournament, you know, you realize those mistakes were fixed. I feel confident. I feel good. I'm ready to go. And you had two very impressive victories in the semifinals and finals. Um, your first Catholic State title win, um, very intense finals match. It went into double overtime or ultimate rideout, I believe.
no, that was our Catholic State duel match.
That was an ultimate rideout. I remember
Yeah,
that. That was the first time you wrestled him. The second time was overtime or double overtime?
Nah, it was just decision.
It was?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was like 2-1. Something like that. Yeah, 2-1.
The Catholic State dual ones was ultimate rideout. I remember that one. So talk about the first matchup and things you had to fix heading into the second round.
Um, I was super young at the time, so like I was making just a lot of mistakes. I'm nowhere near what I was then. But I think even that first match I knew was kind of not a fluke, but like I know I could have wrestled a lot better
Mm-hmm.
than that. And maybe I wasn't prepared mentally just to be in the match like that. But also it gave me the confidence that maybe if I wasn't 100%, I was still able to pull out that match. So then I knew it was going to be a match. I knew he was kind of just a weird matchup. He's actually my teammate now at Buffalo.
Oh,
He also
really?
transferred in. So I was kind of friendly with him then. But yeah, kind of just went out there, knew what I had to do, knew I just had to be more aggressive, and yeah, it was a close match, but kind of just did my thing and got the first Catholic State title.
So we're gonna talk about your New York State Finals match. You had some good matches heading into that tournament, into that finals. I bet. I believe your semifinals win was a 1-0 score.
Yes,
I believe you won by 1 point, and the score was 1-0. You wrestled Ivan Garcia.
yes.
I believe afterwards you were talking to me, and you said you actually wrestled with him at Apex. So there was
Yeah,
definitely some familiarity heading into that match.
yeah. Me and Ivan were been partners for a while, and we've always wrestled with each other. We've always gone to Apex together, and we'd always match up. I was always a little heavier than him, but then like towards like end of my senior year, we were wrestling a lot more just because like we were a lot closer to weight and we were good partners for each other. But like I knew I was eventually gonna hit him, and yeah, so there was a lot of familiarity there. We were wrestling a lot, so yeah,
And I believe the only point that was scored was an escape. Um, in the third, I believe you were on bottom,
yes,
and we all know that when someone shoots in on you, you're gonna have a hard time finishing. Your shot defense is very good. You're very good at scooting the corner, working that, and on top of that, that should be. It's not like you're stalling. You're working the clock also.
yeah,
It's time consuming, and that's a comfortable. That's a position you're very comfortable in. So you're defending your shot, and as you're defending, you're taking a lot of time off of that clock, and that's one shot that opponent has made, and now he's wasting time on finishing. Um, and you walked away with that win 1-0. And you made the New York State Finals. I actually wanted to let me pull it up right here. Your New York State Finals match right here. Um, so what were some key points in this match? I haven't had the chance to rewatch it here, so I'm just gonna mute this really quick. That was a right there actually. Let me see if I can rewind it right there. That was a nice arm drag right there. Soon as he went to go tie up right there, boom.
It's kind of funny. I would say the biggest thing going into this match was literally just confidence. I don't think I've ever been more confident in my whole life, to be honest. I don't know what it was. He's a very good wrestler. I just knew I was gonna win. I don't know what it was. I don't even know. I don't know why. I think I was just so locked into the moment.
Yeah, because it's the New York State Finals. You know, you're like, listen, I'm gonna take this shit home.
Yeah, it was funny. We were talking in the hotel before, my coaches, Ray Brinzer and Pete Ham. You were mentioning that arm drag before. I'm like, yeah, coach, I hit that arm drag off the whistle. I'm like, he's gonna reach, I'm gonna hit it. Like, all right. I'm like, watch. And
then you got it.
Hit it where we were at about.
Because in college, I believe that's two.
I'm like, it's gotta be there. I mean, yeah, it was close to the edge. That was my go-to all year too. And it's when I was watching a little bit of the video and I saw him reaching, I'm like, it's perfect.
I got it.
Yeah.
So as we can see here, he's shooting, but you're working that defense. So he's not scoring at all. One thing that I knew heading into this tournament that anyone was going to have a hard time doing was finishing a shot.
Yeah. I think I only gave up
2 points, I believe, that entire tournament.
2 points. And that's honestly because I heard a whistle and the other man stopped wrestling.
Yeah. I remember I was watching that and you heard the whistle because you were on the edge, I believe, of the mat. And you heard a whistle from the other mat, so you stopped and the kid spun around and got two. And you were like, wait, what?
I remember that. That was funny. I should have scored there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say when we were talking about that boot scoot over here, here it is, and you're really working that right there.
I don't know if you want to get too technical there, but I figured out how to score there. I would have to jump over, grab his far ankle instead of locking in the crotch because that's just gonna be a stalemate. Like he's probably not gonna score there, but if I want to score, I got to get to the other ankle.
Once you reach that position, he's looking to stalemate. You know, he's no longer looking to finish that shot and get points. He's looking to just stall it out so he can start over because now he's in a bad position. You know, and now you're looking to score there, and now you got banged for stalling here. He shot you out of bounds.
Yeah, that was kind of just, I guess, shot
out. I know some things that I've recognized, especially towards guys in the Catholic League in the tournament, the state tournament, is they're very quick on hanging out the stalls. The year before in Terry's semifinals match, they handed out 2 stallings within the last 10 seconds of the match, and Terry was up by 1. He had no other stall calls from the match, so they literally gave that kid what he needed to tie up the match and send it into overtime. And I know me personally, when I'm banging with stalls, there's sort of a mental aspect that plays where I just start like not freaking out, but I'm like, oh shit, I got hit with stalling. And then you don't look intimidated by it at all.
Yeah, because I kind of just shook that one off because I knew it wasn't being aggressive. In that whole tournament, I didn't get to a ton of leg attack or a ton of offense. But if you watch the matches back, they might be shooting, but I'm controlling center. I'm hand fighting. I'm snapping them down. I'm the real one that's pushing the pace.
And you're scoring off of their shots too.
And I'm scoring. I score off my own offense too. And I'm forward. So I'm the one pushing the pace. So like when I got hit with that, I'm like, all right, it was not a big deal because I kind of just got thrown out.
Just shake it off, you know, and we're getting right back into it. And we're just going to keep focusing on that. And you're really riding legs tough here. You have your figure 4 and your legs there. And he is having a hard time even building up his base. One thing we all know you're very good at is your top game, throwing in a leg and just being tormented on bottom.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was the end of the period or if they called a stall.
I think it was stalemate.
I mean, stalemate.
I hate stalemates on top I think refs call him really badly,
Yeah,
and he gives him a free reset when he's not the one.
working.
When he's the one causing the stalemate. But
One thing I would say that they've probably started improving on is calling stalling on bottom. Because when a top guy throws legs in, all the bottom guy needs to do, like especially if he's ahead on points, he just needs to lay down on the mat
yeah,
and worry about not getting turned. And before this year, I believe they were very inconsistent with calling that. They would slap the mat. They'd be like, work up, and there would be a prolonged period of time before they even hand out the stall. Um, and especially with a match like a state finals match, if that's happening, you need to have that call. Um, they're a pain in the ass for calling that though on bottom, and it's not something you see a lot because when you're throwing in a leg in on top and you really need points, the guy just has to lay down there, and the ref doesn't usually call anything because they just see it as, oh, he has a leg in and he just flattened him out.
yeah, that happens a lot. They call it better in college, but it's still, I think bottom guys should get hit with stalling more.
And he cuts you here. I believe this is the first point scored of the entire match.
Yes,
I believe the final score is either 3-0 or 3-2.
3-0. I want to say, yeah,
Um, like people may look at this and see, oh, close score, close match. The only thing I really saw from when I was there, yeah, the score was close, but it was dominant. You weren't giving up anything. You were constantly in good position. If he shoots in here, like right here, you're right behind him. So it's not even like you were in danger throughout the course of the match. You were in good shape. Um, and as right here, you got that leg lock right here, and now you got another two. Believe back should have been called there. There we go. And then he stopped. I would have called those backs earlier, actually.
yeah. I think I got a 1 count. I probably should have got a set there.
Yeah, because if you look right here, as soon as you got that two here, you pull him straight back to get your backs, and he's not counting. These are
Yeah,
back points right here.
I think so.
And especially in a state finals match, like those points are crucial, because you don't know these refs, they may start out with good calls, but they can 180 real quick. So any point you can score, especially in the state tournament, like they're precious points. So he should have went on those back points immediately. He waited too long, I would say, to get on that. Because then by then your opponent was already on his stomach. And as we were seeing before, a lot of tough leg riding here. He is not getting out.
Yeah, once I got that last takedown, it was kind of, I knew it was over and it was gonna ride him.
You rode him out the whole period before when you were on top, so there was really
Yeah.
no worries once you got the takedown.
If you can see, Ray Brinzer, my coach in the corner, was screaming at me to pin him. He wanted me to pin him so bad. And that got in my head, and I got a lot more aggressive on top because I knew I was gonna ride him out anyway.
Yeah, so now
Like,
once you got on top here, it's the third final period. You're gonna at least ride him out. Mentally, you have the victory locked up right here. So pretty much all you're concerned about is scoring more points. And as you can see, you got the state title there with a 3-0 score. So very impressive win there. That was a very dominant match, although people may see the score as being close. You were always in good position that entire match. When I was watching that, I saw that kid had nothing. From start to finish, he had nothing. From that very swift arm drag that you had, I knew that shook him up a bit. Because now he was worried about how quick you got that. He's like, all right, I'm not going to tie up. He's going to work about going side to side. He's going to worry about creating angles openly. And now he's shooting in, and now you're still coming to the side of him. You're scooting. And now he's like, all right, now I'm having a problem with finishing. So it was all you from start to finish. And we all know that your accomplishments didn't end there. In the off season, you went to Virginia Beach and actually All-American. which is a very impressive accomplishment. Congratulations. So I haven't had gotten much results, I would say, from there and to look into that. But just describe the tournament and how those matches went.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Virginia Beach is always my favorite tournament. I love going down there. It's just a lot of fun. It's a great environment. It's a cool place to be. Food's really good. And yes, I knew like a lot of kids, if they have a good senior season, won't go to Virginia Beach. But I'm like, I gotta go now.
Mm-hmm.
And I planned on going 120, but that wasn't happening. I barely made weight with like a 7-pound allowance for the Pittsburgh Wrestling Classic. So I ended up bumping to 126, which was 129. And I did pretty well. I could have did better. It was actually looking back on it, it was a pretty tough bracket.
Mm-hmm.
I first round was kind of like a handling decision. Second round was a real tight match. That kid was really tough. I saw him early. I think I won by like 2 on like a late reversal. My third match was kind of dominant, but that kid was pretty good. My quarterfinal match, I wrestled a kid who was nationally ranked. He was very good. He's from Alabama. I actually wrestled his teammate there in the season. And it was a very tough match. He was very defensive, kind of like a similar style of me. It was really hard to get to. I think I gave up the first class I've ever gave up in my life. And I think I ended up losing by like 1.
Mm-hmm. And I believe I know who you're talking about from his teammate. You wrestled him at Eastern State, Sam Latona. That was an ultimate ride-out match. It was a very anxiety-inducing match. We saw that match go all 3 periods, head into overtime. And a key takeaway from that tournament was when you fell in the quarterfinals, you rallied back. How many matches was it? 6, 9 matches, 7 matches to take 3rd place. That's something that I don't think anyone can say like, oh yeah, we see that happens. So describe after the loss and everything, what was your mentality? Like, I know in the practice room, we're always talking about like you lose, 3rd is the new 1st. But that was a tough bracket. I'm pretty sure that you were in. So just describe that whole wrestleback experience.
Yeah, Eastern States. That was that's also one of my favorite tournaments, and I was in a tough bracket, and I had the kid Latona, who's super good, so having a great like beginning of his college career too, and people. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, kind of surprised myself a little bit with that match and how close it was. I knew I'd be in it, but like I should have won that match in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So I was frustrated, but I was also like, all right, I got a lot of confidence for that match too.
Like I can compete with the best in the country. I believe he was ranked 4th in the country at that time.
Yeah, I think he was ranked pretty high. So I just knew, I'm like, all right, well, gotta go back, take 3rd now, because never placed the Eastern State. So it was like still something to wrestle for in my head, like still a lot to wrestle for in my head. There's a lot of state seedings that get decided in the Eastern States, and a lot of good kids I knew were gonna be in the bracket. So I was like, all right, let's wrestle back. And yeah, wrestled a bunch of matches. I think I progressively got better every match I was wrestling the wrestle back too. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And I remember the kid that you wrestled in your state finals, Sean Carter, was actually the Eastern States finalist.
Yeah.
At 120. So he made the finals. He lost to Latona as well. So you didn't get to see him before New York State. So since obviously Latona from Alabama, that gave Carter the seeding above you for New York State's. Was that a match you would say you would have wanted to see earlier in the season to get higher state seeding, or you were happy with how everything played out?
I'm looking back and I'm happy how everything played out. And actually, I want to say he was the 4 seed. I think I got more seeding points from wrestling back, if I'm remembering correctly.
Oh, wait, was Carter the 1st? No. Yeah. Carter lost to Jaden Scott in the section final. So I think Scott.
No, they didn't wrestle. Jaden Scott wasn't at Eastern States, I believe.
I think it was. I said his section. I believe. Carter
No,
lost
I
it.
don't think they ever wrestled.
No, they
didn't wrestle.
did because Scott was seated above Carter.
Yeah, but that's because Scott was undefeated.
I'll have to look into it because I thought I read
Okay.
something where Carter had lost to Scott.
I don't think they hit. I could be wrong. I don't think they hit.
I could be wrong. I could be
Yeah.
wrong. We all know that my knowledge isn't that great. Um,
But yeah, I want to wrestle everyone. I want to wrestle the good guys. I did want to wrestle him, but I was like, also I got a ton of matches. I got against good guys at Eastern State, so like I wanted to be in the finals. I wanted to wrestle him in the finals, but they didn't work out like that.
so your senior year, you committed to LIU. You did your first college season there. You're currently at Buffalo. So, what led you to transfer out of LIU into Buffalo?
Um, it just wasn't a good fit for me academically and obviously wrestling wise. I wanted to go to a bigger school. I wanted more concentration and class options with my major, and just wrestling wise, just wasn't the greatest fit. Lifestyle wise, I wanted to go further away from home. I wanted to go to a bigger school, and that was where Buffalo came in.
And if you don't mind me asking, what major are you undecided, or what major have you declared?
I am currently a psychology major.
Psychology. Okay. Um, and what career are you looking to make out of a psych degree?
I'm not sure yet, to be 100% honest. Um, I might want to go clinical.
Okay.
I might want to go. I'm not sure if I want to go a social worker route, but what I like about psychology, it doesn't lock me into a specific career. It really keeps my options open.
Hmm.
But I definitely want to graduate with a master's to
Hmm.
keep my options as wide as possible. So that's my current goal.
All right. Um, and before we wrap everything up, do you have any last words?
No, I'm just excited to be able to wrestle again. We've been training pretty hard. Yeah, just excited for the season. Hopefully starting January. Hopefully it starts off, no hiccups, and yeah, excited to get back on the mat.
All right. Thank you once again for taking the time out of your very busy day to be a part of this and
No
do the
problem.
interview. Um, and there you go, ladies and gentlemen, James Ryan.